really. And actually, this section we're saying is the venting point. And yes, because accomplished author, poet, presenter here on Salam Media, but more than that, a kindred sister and beloved colleague has spoke my mind, so to speak, as somebody who is passionate about all matters education. More than that, now I have my hat on as a childhood development um, uh, expert or somebody who's passionate about childhood development and the acquiring of life skills. And that's why this peeves me. I don't know if who's gonna vent more, myself or my beloved guest, that Shalfanaz Hassam. But let me read what she posted uh, recently. She says, I have a gripe to air. I've written about it before, but now it's happened again. Let me vent. Someone sent a request to comment on for a really to recommend a really good writer who can do her kids' creative writing and oral narrative projects for them. She ends with, "I will pay them." Of course, if somebody is being commissioned, you would need to pay them. This is not a bonus or motivation. I think we need to step back a bit and realize how corrupt this is to begin with. If you're buying your way through through buying home assessments, that's corruption. What happens in the exams? You stealing a life skill from your children. It's about them learning, giving them responsibility, time management, seeing and trusting that they'll come up with an age appropriate response to the task. So many life skills. You can't put a price on this, surely. And you may think you're making it easier for them somehow, but you're telling them, I don't trust you to complete this task, to learn and to grow from it. Don't complain about political corruption when you normalize it in your own life. Rent over, no, Shalfanaz. I don't think rent is over because I've done research here, and universities are taking a serious stance on this. And there's a term now in universities. It's called contract cheating, and whereby students pay companies to complete assignments on their behalf, threatens to seriously undermine higher educational standards. And thus, Philip P. Newton and Michael J. Draper consider what might be done to tackle this issue, including Quality Assurance Agency suggestion of deploying the UK Fraud Act for such students. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Talking Point, Venting Point, should I say, uh, accomplished and published author Shalfanaz Hassam to welcome. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, Mariam. And it's wonderful to have this opportunity to chat about this topic because, as much as it was a rent, we use our social media to get these conversations going. But you're right, it's an absolutely serious matter because now what we have is from a young age, parents are condoning a form of corruption and also taking away a genuine life skill because there's so much that is considered in an age appropriate project, the ability to time manage, and to present something from your own. Just the satisfaction of making something or writing something or creating something of your own is exactly why these assessments are set out in the school system. So we need to talk about why there's this competitiveness with parents wanting to buy the skill elsewhere and then present it to the school. It's like, why bother to send your child to school anyway? Just, you're going to buy their driver's license, you're going to buy their matric certificate, whatever. There's a kind of lackadaisical approach to education.
It's almost that our ethics disappear because in wanting the best for our child to attain the best marks possible for our children, I mean, we're going to any means possible. But for me, what is really concerning and frightening is then this behavior goes this behavior then it continues whereby at tertiary level, it's called there are companies now that are providing that's what they do. They do your assignments for you in university. I mean, I'd be very concerned the day comes that somebody's going to actually, you're going to buy a dissertation or you're going to buy your MBA or something like that, because it's big business now. And there's amendments to higher education and research bill was still proposing to make essay mill, they call them essay writing mills, illegal, although it's still required to demonstrate intent, and then somebody could be liable. So it's going to become a criminal offense. This, so we need to re-examine our values, our value systems, our moral compass, because if you're doing this, you are the moral compass for your children, and your children see morality and morals from you, based on what you say, based on what you do. Even if it means, I mean, you stop by the Metro Police and you pull out something and then you offer a bribe to the police, or you'd rather take the fine, because maybe you were found wanting on the other side of the law. But your children develop this sense of morality and the moral compass based on parents' behavior and actions. And if you're going to go around um, paying for projects for your children, what lesson, what value system are you teaching your child? Never mind robbing them or depriving them from a life skill. What life lesson are you teaching your child if you are now going to purchase assignments, projects, speeches for your children?
When I put this comment out, I mean, rightfully, and we will get to that point of how it then becomes a problem later on in life and what it means for the merit of getting a degree that's questionable in terms of how the assessments have gone. We're just taking it back to the school level. Parents who do children's assignments or parents who buy their way out of bring home assessments. Teachers at some level can tell the difference, but I don't know if they have the impetus then to be, because you have to prove it. You have to prove that this wasn't actually done. So then, do they match up to the kind of assignments that are done in the classroom? And this creates an unfair dynamic for kids who are doing the work in the classroom. And then the moral dynamic, the dilemma of, how wrong and how right is this sort of thing? Because to a child, like you say, you're teaching them that this is okay. We can get ourselves out of the stress, this anxiety of deadlines, and we'll just buy it or buy your way out of it. And so when they do it at university level, it's like this is the way it's always been done. So what's the big deal? But I did have comment from parents who said, but often the projects and the number of projects that are given can be, and I don't think this is across the board. This might be one or two spaces, can be outside of the capacity of that particular child or that age group. And this is something that maybe parents and teachers need to sit down and figure out. Or that they have so many, like I know a lot of schools in the third term, you've just got assessments and projects, and every subject wants their long papers in and their energy projects and all sorts of things at the same time. So parents are going crazy. But then that's where time management comes in. And you've got multiple children in a house, it's understandable that this is stressful, but it all needs to be factored in. um, and so parents succumb to the possibility of getting help, outsourcing help. But
So, what I'd like to add here is, I mean, I've been through this whole schooling process. I've also sat on school governing bodies. I've engaged with educators in it. So that's number one. If your child, so parents, this is sage advice, because I know, uh, I know the burden of responsibility is a lot. You have other siblings. You are pressed for time. Your child becomes anxious. Your child, there's this expectation on you, and I know it comes from a good place. I mean, it's no parent wants to deliberately um, teach children to
corrupted,
cheat and
yeah.
corrupt your children, and you want to teach them this negative life skill or a negative value system. But parents, if your child is given an assignment and you know your child does not have a skill level for that assignment, then the first thing you need to do is you need to engage with the class teacher that then handed over that assignment task to say, my child does not have the skill task, or this is what we can do. And that, because I remember my son was in grade 5, and that was when he was about 10 years old. The assignment was he needed to make a globe, the world map, a globe. He needed to make a globe. Do you know what skill it takes and what resources it takes to make a globe? We said he did not have all the skills there. And at the end of the day, as somebody who's experienced in childhood development, I asked the teacher, what skill do you want my child to gain from making a globe? Because he would have rather used that time, uh, maximize the time, and you'd get a better skill if you said, learn a map or draw a map of the continents, because that would be better for him, because never in his adult life is he going to be required to produce the globe. Or rather tell him, take the globe, get a globe, go and learn where different continents are. See, say you're traveling, make a holiday thing. Say you want to travel from South Africa to Europe. Find out all the places, the distance, see the longitude, the latitude, the directions. Can you see a history, geography, life skills, travel and tourism lesson in one thing that I was suggesting? And I spoke to the educator about it. So sometimes, I mean, educators are so inundated that they just think about what's coming here and doing this without actually seeing the skill level. That wasn't a social side. For me, it was a technology assignment anyway, but something that a 10-year-old did not have the skills. And I was looking across the board of learners whose parents do not have resources, because that assignment cost us like about $500 to make.
Okay.
So, parents, first thing here, if you find that your child is given an home assessment task that is they don't have the skill level for this, then you need to be asking the educator to break this out in smaller assessments. But when you come, now it's the end of the year, come January, when you meet your child, your educators at that orientation information meeting, please attend that meeting. Make sure you attend that meeting, because that is your opportunity to speak about assessments. And most of the skills of that assessment should be done at school, because educators, that's what you send your child to school and you're paying for, is to inculcate them that life skill that is going to give them that platform to doing these assignments. Because especially in primary school, these are the skills that your children need to learn, so that they can thus can provide the springboard in higher school for them then to write their own speeches, to write their own essays in it, so you don't need to do this. So, yes, you're quite right that if it's beyond the scope of expertise or skill level at that time, please don't go and buy. Go. The first point of call is educate. The first point of call is the educator who has then given this assessment task. If you find that there's difficulty or there's a disconnect between you and that educator, there's always the HOD, the vice principal, and the principal, and then all by all means take it up with the district official as well. But there are channels of communication where you can address your concerns. Otherwise, vent, as my colleague here has vented on social media. You'll have plenty of advice and support.
I think it's important what you mentioned also in terms of, having a consultative approach, being able to sit down and say, look, these are my concerns. I've noticed it might be an age thing where this age group of children are not managing a project, or it might be specific to a child, and you must speak about those kind of, if there are any limitations perceived. Some children might not be able to perceive certain colors, for example, and it needs to be brought to the teacher's attention. But also in terms of just I think a lot of schools are having those assessments done in the classroom, and they'll tell you to send over empty bottles or bottle caps or some kind of recyclable material, or get a certain amount of work ready at home, and then get it assembled in the classroom, which is really, really a nice way to say, okay, we want to see what you're capable of. You're telling the children, this is a project for you, and we want to see what you're capable of, and we trust that you can pull this off. And it's quite a nice, when kids come back with a done project of their own, and that pride, that sense of pride and accomplishment is also very special. It's very affirming, and that's part of the process of education, to feel that affirmation, that satisfaction, that sense of accomplishment as well. Don't take that away from.
Absolutely, yes, 100%. And if you're paying people to do this, your child will never able to feel that. By the way, that confidence actually propels them in their journey, their educational journey. So that is, at the end of the day, as you say, that confidence and that affirmation is motivation to propel you further. The other thing is my advice to all those, as I'm in the administrator of various WhatsApp groups, and every so often I find in amongst all those that are offering learning support, tuition services, along comes essay writing, doing homework for you, projects, writing speeches, and that. And I often I've now made it a point of private messaging those individuals to tell them, I'm I'm so pleased that you have a skill, but you're going about it, marketing your skill the incorrect way. What you need to be doing is, if you have the skill and you are proficient in English, in project, in doing assignments, projects, speech writing, creative writing, then please offer workshops. Offer workshops over the weekend or in school holidays, like yourself. I mean, you're an accomplished author. You are at the zenith of a career in terms of when it comes to creative writing. So what people like yourself can do is offer workshops to say, this is the skill. When you're starting an essay, always have your topic sentence, because that is going to start, or have your plot. Employ not only sight, but engage your other senses when you're writing. So offer skills. So yes, there is a need for all those that are offering this skills for these prices. But instead of doing it for somebody, inculcate the skill. Teach. This is your contribution towards society, towards youngsters. Is, please, I like the idea. You very good. You're offering your services as a speech writer. Why don't you have a workshop to say, how does one go about writing a good speech? Because all the ministers and presidents' speech are not written by themselves. Here's a spoiler alert. There's somebody who's a paid professional who writes the speech. It's read, it's edited. There's a process here. Even in the media business here, you have people writing. Even somebody who reads the news, there's somebody who wrote it and worded this for you. So there's a lucrative career for youngsters in this. So have workshops, inculcate. Or if you're doing the, say, I do assignment facilitation. So now I'm not going to do the assignment for your child. I'm not doing creative writing, but I'm going to support them along on this journey, on the process. But the end of the day, it's their words with my guidance. So rather frame it differently and offer such things where you facilitate. So I, as a parent, I'm going to be paying you for your time and your expertise, and not for doing my child's homework. But at the end of the day, I've invested in my child, because my child has now a skill. Because come 3 months down the line, there's enough skill to write something, and maybe I might employ you just to supervise that my child has done this. Can you just edit this for my child and show them where this is going wrong? Don't you think that would be a better approach for all those that are advertising services?
Absolutely, and I've seen the results of it, because what I do is I do writing workshops for kids, and I happen to be in Durban at the moment. And a week ago, we did just a small workshop at a bookshop in Overport called Beitul Hikmah, and it was for my Nisa Kamar series. And it just so happened there was a group of young girls from the Amzinto Madrasa, and they come out to use the library, and they weren't going to attend this. They hadn't heard of Nisa Kamar, but they joined the group, about 18, 20 of them. So just as a matter of interest, I did a very quick writing exercise with them, and they looked a bit bored at first. They took up their pen and paper, they made a few scribbled notes, but at the end of that exercise, they each had written half a page of something, based on the prompts that I'd given them. And you just see their faces light up. Miriam, this is empowerment, right? When you think that you're not capable of doing something, or you have that self-doubt, as a lot of teenagers tend to, they're like they might have been between 15 and 18. And then suddenly they all wanted to share with me. They wanted to read out what they had written, because they felt so empowered by the fact that in those few minutes they were able to produce. Because you have this way of motivating in those few minutes. This is one of the tools I use in my workshops. And that is enough to tell you that every child has capacity. They just need the right inspiration, the right motivation, the right prompts, the right tools. We can equip them. It's quite that. It really is about teaching them that skill and making them understand that they're very capable. And then that becomes a life skill, whether they want to start an enterprise or a business, whether they want to go into, the health sciences or whatever, but knowing that they can set up their own surgery or practice, or, legal practice, accountancy practice, because they have self-belief, not just the skill, but that essential aspect of self-belief that says, I'm capable of doing something. I can do this.
Thank you for instilling the self belief wherever you go. That's what I like to term you. You unearth potential. So you that not bounty hunter, but potential hunter. So you go there and you find, because there's a writer and there's a creative writer in any of us. And let me tell you, my love of the English language, my journey for writing, for being in the space, for reading, for enjoying what I read. It's not so much what you write, Shalfanas, but it's how you write it. And my appreciation for Wordsmith started exactly when I was in standard 8 and I needed to do a creative writing piece. And I went to my father and I said, Daddy, help me with this. I need you to do this, as we all do. And that day he gave me an emphatic no. He told me, I'm not doing this for you. I've helped you for the past 2 years, and I've given you I've helped you in terms of your introduction and then your body and then your conclusion. But today I'm not doing it. My father was an avid reader and he loved reading, and he told me no. And I was so upset. And I did this because I said, I'm going to show my father that I'm going to write this piece and I'm going to get an A for it. And I'm going to show him I did it without his help. Well, that was the motivation. And, that set me on a whole different trajectory, from being just a C student in English. Alhamdulillah, it was a love for the language, so much so that I did English at university as one of in my undergraduates. And here I am today presenting, love writing. And it just came because my I must thank my father, and I credited for him for that day to tell me, no, you've got this, because I've got this. And that's the skill that we should be teaching our children. So all those there who are offering your service like this, can you just change it a little bit and offer a life skill, or unearth a potential in somebody and give them that feeling of accomplishment as and satisfaction? Because you know what, you make an indelible mark in somebody's life, or you don't know, it's a lifelong, you do something to them that lifelong it sets them on a different trajectory. So thanks so much for venting, because it was my vent too. And I'd love to engage with you more in terms of workshops and what you do. And maybe we should consider doing, I think in December, an online workshop where we can do a creating workshop that can reach, I think, whoever wants to tune in will get this benefit. And I think you're never too old to also be a writer. So if somebody there that finds yourself in a time of retirement and you want to do, or you find yourself in empty nest syndrome, then why not become a writer? So please, I'm going to get you to commit, because I want to do something along those lines on a greater scale.
Well, we can definitely, it'll be a wonderful idea to do something together online, but I've got a physical workshop on the 2nd of November, an adult workshop, Introduction to Writing Your Own Book. 2nd of November here in Durban at Beitul Hikmah at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's on my Instagram page right now. And we can definitely do an online workshop as well, later in November or early in December, before everyone runs off for their holidays. We can give
Inshallah.
out more information about that,
So
inshallah.
all of
Jazakallah khair.
those
Collaboration is
I mean,
always
for,
good.
for all those that are in Durban, please rush out. I mean, you're going to be in the company and the presence of somebody who's a true wordsmith, and her passion in writing, her passion for for books, for reading, for writing, for virtual books as well. So please, you'll be in really good hands. And yes, may your pen never run out of ink, inshallah, and may you continue to inspire us with your beautiful words, Sulfanaz Hassam, and shukran for your vent. It has been my vent as well, but hopefully this is going to change mindsets and perspectives in what support systems and what life skills and what value systems we give our future generation. Shukran, and may you be under the mercy and protection of the Almighty.
Ameen, and same to you. Alaikum salam.
Right. And before I end up, yes, I haven't forgotten you, matriculants. I know Monday for those GDE, it's D Day. For those of you that are writing IB exams, I know your additional English, additional maths, and AP maths, AP English, as well as LO is underway. But from tomorrow, you're starting. So everybody will be doing Afrikaans tomorrow. And I just want to catch up with one matriculant. I have Alia Patel with me online. She's a matriculant from St. Teresa's, and I just want to hear the anxiety, the nerves, or she's confident, because remember, now we're in the final hurdle. The preparation has begun last year already. So in the final hurdle, and now it's your time to shine. So let me just hear how Alia is ready to shine on a wide platform here. Assalamu alaikum, Alia. Alia, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Assalamu alaikum, Alia Patel from St. Teresa's, one of the matriculants writing IEB of Matric 2022. Tomorrow is Afrikaans, so tomorrow the real deal begins. How are you feeling?
I think it's normal to be feeling a bit anxious, and I'm a bit on edge. I'm feeling really scared, but I know that I have prepared a long time for this. And I think the worst part to do at this moment would be to doubt myself, because my mom always says your mindset sets you out from the rest. It's the best thing that you can have at this moment.
I think that's sage advice for So what's happening is let's get Alia on a clearer line. We didn't hear so well. I want to give her time to shine. To Yes, like she says, it's normal to feel anxious, and yes, everybody, parents included, it is normal to feel anxious. If you're not feeling anxious, then I think we're not human beings. It's normal to feel anxious, but it needs to be a balance, because we have to have a balance of confidence and and anxious. So it's a mixture of both. Um, Quiet confidence, not overconfidence. But yes, you should be confident, because you should tell yourself, I've prepared, I've given it my all. Parents have provided extra learning support by way of tuition. You've were learners, you've worked well, you've put in the hours, you've put in the effort. So you've got this. You need to tell yourself, I've got this. I need to be calm. I need to be collected. Yes, I might come across a few questions that will be challenging, but by far and large, I'll know this. So let me answer what I know best first. The challenging ones, I'm going to give it off my best. And maybe, you know what, it's just a trick. It's more when I process it, apply my mind to the question. It might just be at first glance, I just panic. So we just need to regain calm. And anxious nerves is good, because it propels us. It propels us to do better. Let me see if we've got Alia on the line now. Alia, can you hear me?